This is me at the White House in Washington, D.C.
And this is the Western White House in the Bay Area, California. It is listed at $27 million. This White House replica mansion has 11 bedrooms, 14 bathrooms, and 24,000 square feet. In today's video, we're gonna see what it's like to live here and also live out your presidential dreams.
This is the Oval Office. You'll see that it looks a lot like the Oval Office in the White House in Washington, D.C. The most iconic view in the Washington, D.C. Oval Office is when you're standing at the far end of the room looking this way.
Okay.
You know, a lot of times you see the president sitting behind the desk, but you'll see the windows are kind of lined up the same way. The color scheme is not exact. The actual Washington, D.C. Oval Office has, you know, a lot of blue and gold and stuff like that. Scale-wise, none of these rooms are really exact to scale. The Washington, D.C. White House is much larger, you know, just the grounds and the actual scale of the house. But of course, you definitely see similarities.
So if someone were to buy this house, would they actually sit here as their office, would you think? Or is this more of like a meeting room?
I would assume it's more like a meeting room. I mean, there are plenty of rooms in this house that could actually be a kind of an everyday office.
Okay.
This, I think, is kind of more of the impress your guests kind of room.
All right, so what makes this house so expensive?
So as you can imagine, around here, it's heavily land-based. The land is what makes the majority of the real estate extremely expensive. So you got about 3 acres here. Each one of these acres, if they were empty lots, would be between $6 to $8 million. Okay. So right off the bat, you're looking at, you know, anywhere from $18 million plus of land value. When Charles Crocker passed away, the son inherited the house.
Yeah.
That was Uplands, you know, Crystal Springs Uplands.
Okay.
He loved the location, but he didn't want the house. So he hired a local Burlingame contractor to physically move the house 300 yards down the hill from up there to where it is right now. House gets located here. Then Charles Crocker says to this local Burlingame contractor, says to him, okay, thanks for moving it, now you can have the house. So literally just gave him the house. Wow. Then Charles Crocker Jr. built Crystal Springs Uplands, which is now the school. After basically the Burlingame contractor he sold it to George Hurst. And then George Hurst was the one who commissioned Julia Morgan, famous Bay Area architect, to make it look like the White House. And the reason that he did that was 2 reasons. Number one, the relationship from Hearst Castle. That's how he knew Julia Morgan originally, because she designed the Hearst Castle. Number 2 is, the word is that George Hurst had political aspirations. He wanted to be a president.
Oh, interesting.
And so his idea was to make this house look like the White House. Say, hey, you know, U.S. government, you can have this house. It can be a West Coast complement to the East Coast White House. And hey, my name's George Hurst. I might run for president someday. This is the living room, which is modeled after the East Room in the White House on a much smaller scale. So if you actually go through and you look at a side-by-side from the East Room and the White House and this one, you can kind of see the similarities, but this is the living room. What the house looked like before Julia Morgan redesigned it to make it look like the White House. So it was kind of a Swiss chalet style house. And you can see the kind of, the general structure is still the same, but then if you come over here to this picture, this is obviously what it looked like after completion of the, you know, the remodel / redesign by Julia Morgan.
So what type of person is probably buying a home like this, and are they getting a mortgage, or are they paying in cash, or what does that look like?
Usually when you get into this price range, it's a lot of executives, company executives, or, you know, finance people, VCs. Those tend to be the heavy hitters around the Bay Area. I would say that the majority of people that are looking at houses in this price range can probably afford to buy the house, like just in cash. You know, they have the capital to do it. But of course, you know, the banks can give them sometimes preferential rates, keep their monies in the market, you know, so that they don't use up all their capital to purchase, you know, one asset.
So how many acres is this house on right now?
Just under 3 acres, 2.9 acres.
2.9 acres. Whoa. And I assume there is a lot of maintenance that is involved with this house. Like the landscaping itself must be really expensive on a monthly basis.
Landscaping is probably the biggest cost here. You can see anytime that you have this much acreage, I mean, especially with this amount of, you know, flowers, gardens, everything like that, the gardening crew can be here 2 or 3 times a week.
2 or 3 times a week?
Yeah. Well, I think, landscaping costs, I'm not exactly sure, but they, you know, for a property this size, they can be, you know, upwards of $1,000 a month.
All right, so what about this house has some built-in value that can't be replaced?
So the biggest thing about these older houses is that the quality of construction was of a different caliber back in the day. Not only were the materials much higher quality, but everything was done by hand. There was, no manufacturing, in warehouses and things like that, no machinery to, so to speak, build things off-site and then bring them here. Everything was pretty much done on-site, by hand, by artisans, by artists, so to speak. The quality and the cost of construction, if you were to replicate this today, would be astronomical. I mean, this would be, probably triple, quadruple the cost of what it would cost, just a normal kind of caliber house to build today. This is the dining room. You can see this room actually has some pretty cool features, like the inlay in the ceiling, the really dramatic crown molding.
Yeah, the details are incredible. Like if
yeah.
you just look at the ceiling right here, and
when you buy crown molding, it's generally built or made in a factory and shipped and then placed in. This, crown molding of this caliber was usually hand etched on site.
Wow.
So like a lot of times they would have the wood beams or whatever, and then they'd install them and then they'd etch them, or that they'd etch them here. Everything was done by hand. So, whereas most large homes can take about 2 to 2.5 years to build from the moment that you want to, pull permits till the actual time of completion. Homes like this, back in the day, could take 4 to 8 years to build.
Okay.
Just because everything was done by hand. It wasn't anything that was shipped, materials that were shipped were all shipped by, horse and carriage, by railroad. And everything was done on site, more so than factories. This is the front office. I guess you could say maybe the working office as opposed to the entertainment office that the Oval Office is.
Okay.
This room is cool because you can really see a lot of the dramatic details, like the wainscoting on the wall, the crown molding. If you look closely, you can see all this stuff was done by hand. This is like these were artisans back in the day who would spend weeks, if not months, crafting and chiseling this stuff, by hand on site.
So what's one thing about this house you would change if you owned it?
So I think you have to be careful with a property like this because of the historic nature of the house. I've seen goofy things done where people take a house like this that has a very specific kind of classic look from the outside and make it kind of a modern atrocity on the inside, and like that you mix these kind of genres of architecture that just don't mesh. You know what I mean? So, I think while you could definitely continue to do more here that makes the house more kind of modern friendly for the modern family, living wise, just have to be,
retain the original as much as you can. Probably.
Correct. Yeah. Just don't kill the character of the house. Work with the existing character. This room was the largest remodel by the current owner.
Okay.
So basically, this kitchen was old school in the sense that it was compartmentalized. So a lot of times when you go into the older homes, the kitchens were broken into separate areas. There was the refrigeration area, there was the prep area, there was the cooking area, and each of these areas inside the kitchen were sort of little rooms. So obviously that's not
the case. It's open floor plan here,
exactly.
Which is kind of like the meta these days, right?
Exactly. Okay. So that's the thing is that that old school style doesn't work for the modern family. So that's why he completely opened up this kitchen, completely remodeled it. All top of the line appliances. You can see the chandeliers.
Yeah.
He purposely picked out things that were kind of character. Or period detail, I should say, with the house, to try to keep it all, together, as opposed to making something that was like, a super ultra modern interior when you've got the exterior looking kind of like a classic design.
Yeah, I like it. There's a lot of natural light coming in. There's some stained glass right here too.
Yeah. So as far as we know, these windows are original to when it was done, because number one, they don't do the leaded glass like this anymore, but number two is the kind of the intricate kind of artwork of the flowers and stuff in the windows. That definitely looks kind of period.
So what room is this?
This is the butler's pantry. So a lot of the older homes had, you got to remember, it was a different style of living back in the day.
Yeah.
So, everyone who had homes of this style had help. They had housekeepers, they had chefs, they had butlers. That was all people that usually lived either nearby in smaller houses or on site with the owners. So the butler's pantry was where everything would be prepped by the servers, slash butler, before it was taken into the dining room to serve to the guests. And so then you come over here, and like I said, that was where everything was prepped in order to serve the owners and their guests.
This is the family room?
Family room, yeah.
Okay.
Obviously you can see right off the kitchen, so it's very modern in the sense that, for, I should say modern family, modern floor plan, where, look, the kitchen and the family room are the two areas of the house that the families spend the majority of time. Family room. It opens up right to a patio, to the whole backyard. So it's a really bright, kind of beautiful room.
Why do you think someone would buy this house?
So I think the most important thing here is you can see it's a very particular style. It's a famous architect, Julia Morgan, one of the most famous architects. I mean, she's a staple in the Bay Area.
She did the Hearst Castle?
Correct,
Okay.
She did the Hearst Castle. So she's got a big name. So I think it's someone who would, appreciate historic properties, properties that are, different than the norm. These days you see a lot of properties that are, modern, maybe, kind of cookie cutter. You just can't build houses like this really anymore unless you want to spend an absolute fortune. So
A possible future presidential candidate, do you think they would buy this?
possibly, yeah.
If they can't get into the White House,
Or-
they could buy this.
Or a retired president.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right,
Never
Barack.
know.
I'm looking for you. All
Exactly.
right.
So let me show you over here. It's there's something kind of cool over here. So yeah, if you look in here, it's an old safe, probably from the early 1900s.
Okay.
And the way that you know that it's old is if you look on the front, there's a dash in San Francisco. So you gotta imagine that it's way back in the day.
Wow, this thing's
Solid.
so thick. Oh my God, this
it's-
thing is heavy.
I mean, it's solid steel, and you can see. All
Wow.
the pins here, the locks. If you zoom in, you can actually see kind of the intricate details, like the actual etchings on the steel itself. But this was where the owners of the house would keep probably their jewelry, their valuables, their pearls, things like that.
Their watches, their gold bars.
Gold bars, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. What's the biggest thing you wish buyers knew when they looked at a potential property like this one or just any other ones that you've sold?
I think so. Two things. A lot of people, I think, underestimate the costs of properties. They look at the offering price, the list price, and they think, oh, that's the cost and that's all I have to pay. But as we've discussed, I mean, there's property taxes, there's maintenance, there is, mortgage costs, if you get a mortgage. There's a lot of fees that aren't necessarily obvious to buyers. Now, of course, I think a buyer for this type of property probably has bought properties before. It's probably not their first property, so they kind of are familiar with some of that. But still, for a property this size, I mean, everything just gets exacerbated cost-wise, right?
Yeah.
So that's number one, and then number two is, it is a very specific type of house. It's not like one of these modern spec homes where you move in and you don't necessarily have to worry about a single thing. Everything's new, everything's kind of warranted, so to speak, and it's very hands-off. So this is a property that is going to require a little bit more hand-holding. Make sure that the property kind of stays upkept and whatnot.
So this place is kind of like a challenge for any new owner, right? Because it's an old school way of living, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a very different floor plan and layout, so it's a very kind of specific buyer. And that's one of the challenge with older properties like this is that it does take a certain type of buyer to appreciate this kind of not only house but this kind of living. So this is the master bedroom.
Okay, wow.
And you'll see it's
huge.
got the same curvature as the Oval Office because it's directly above the Oval Office. But it's real nice because it looks out to the backyard. If you go over to the windows, you'll see it looks down on the pool, the rose gardens, all kinds of stuff. So it's a very scenic, bright room. So this is the master bath, or I should say one of the master baths.
One of the master bathrooms, okay.
So you can see kind of a formal changing room / closet, and then the actual bathroom, complete with a real rain shower.
I like that. So this is actually a pretty small bathroom. I mean, it seems small for this house, right?
Correct. And so usually we walk through this bathroom first, and the first response is, it's not really big enough for a master. I need a master bath. I need a bigger master bath. And I say, no, wait, there's another one.
Now for context, guys, this bathroom is probably as big as some people's apartments. So it is still pretty big.
This is the real master bath.
Holy crap, it's huge. This is way bigger than the other one. This is probably double the size, maybe triple?
Probably triple the size. So this was another large remodel by the current owner. This bathroom before was straight out of the 1970s. Pink tile, also kind of in the theme of the house, compartmentalized. You know, the shower was actually back here behind the wall. You know, it was just kind of a funky layout and just not up to the standards of a $20+ million house.
Sure.
So you can see, I mean, now it's probably one of the more spectacular rooms in the house.
I mean, it looks like there's an entire changing room over here. What is this over here?
Yeah, it's actually a full walk-in closet with its own chandelier.
Oh my God, wait,
So-
you put a chandelier in a closet?
The first walk-in closet next to the first bathroom, you know, the common reception to that room is, this is kind of small. It's not really big enough. So this, I think, more than makes up for that, not only size-wise, but kind of the grandness of the room with the chandeliers.
Right, wow. This is very impressive. And so you have some probably fancy clients that are still impressed by this room, right?
Oh yeah.
This is like...
I mean, you know, this is still, even for large houses, you know, most modern houses, especially houses that are built more recently, have large closets, master closets. I mean, that's just part of the modern kind of living these days. But this is still a pretty large
I mean, it's
master
big.
closet, even on top of, you know, what people expect. So yeah, this is the private office that is off of the master bath, off of the master bedroom. So this would be the office that nobody would ever see except for the owners of the house. This would be the office where, you know, you would get probably the most important work done.
Yeah, this is interesting because this is the third office in the house, but probably the most practical because the other two I probably wouldn't even use because the Oval Office is for show. The other one is just kind of in the front of the house, but this one you could get some work done.
Absolutely. This is the roof deck. So we're obviously 3 levels up right now from ground level. And this really gives you an idea of how private this lot is. I mean, you can look any direction, you really don't see a neighbor anywhere, which is relatively abnormal for Hillsborough because, you know, it's half-acre minimum lots.
Right.
So a lot of times you at least see your neighbors, especially from this height. We're 60 feet in the air. You should see some neighbors, but you really don't see anything.
That's cool. Do you have any advice for real estate agents or really just hungry young entrepreneurs who really want to get into the real estate space? Like, do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, the biggest thing is that I would start, if I were a young agent that had, you know, no connections, just kind of cold turkey getting into the business, you want to start with a group of some sort. And it's probably going to mean that you're, you know, working low level kind of administrative stuff for a long time, 2-3 years probably, because you need to kind of build your client base and kind of get familiar with the industry. So what a lot of people don't understand is that, you know, you can go to school for real estate, you can study for real estate, get your license, but you really don't learn a whole lot about the everyday goings of the real estate industry until you're in the thick of it and kind of see what's going on.
What do you think are some of the serious must-haves that a buyer should have done before they even look at properties?
The number one thing is they, you know, if they're getting a mortgage, they need to
know their numbers.
Sure. That's the biggest thing. A lot of people start and they have no idea of like what they can afford. They know how much money that they have, but they have no idea what they're approved for based on their income, what actual monthly payments will look like, you know, how much interest they're going to be paying, all these kind of things. So I always tell people if they're just like, the first thing they want to do is talk to a mortgage broker or their banker and at least get a ballpark range of what you feel comfortable, you know, spending. So that's number one. And then number two is just kind of like the conversation that we're having here today. It's like there's a lot of nuance and a lot of kind of intricacies in the home buying process, and you know what actually comes with owning a home, especially the larger homes like this, that buyers maybe aren't necessarily aware of, that you just kind of have to, you know, explain to them, make sure that they know. So
Cool. Well, thank you for showing us the Western White House today, Alex. I appreciate it.
absolutely, yeah.
All right.
It was fun.
Peace. My name is Humphrey Yang, and I approve this message. Subscribe.